Welcome to the Badass American Heroes podcast. Coming at you now.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Badass American Heroes podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brandon, and it's been a while, guys. It's been a long time since you guys have heard my magical voice deep inside your cerebellum, and I want to apologize. Life comes at you fast, and sometimes things change and things get crazy and hectic. And I had to stop with the podcast for a while. I had a lot going on in my personal life, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. It's going to be a solo episode, so no guest that we're going to be interviewing tonight. It's just me. But let's start kind of here at the beginning with the Badass American Heroes podcast and what it is all about. The Badass American Heroes podcast is a bi-monthly podcast that dives deep into the stories of some of America's greatest heroes and their service and their sacrifice, their dedication to duty, and their lives. And those people are the people that have served in the United States military, whether they're veterans, whether they're still on active duty, or they're retirees. We talk to all of them here on the show, and we look at their lives and we look at the things that these people have in common and the struggles that they've gone through, and we try and take some lessons learned out of these people's lives and really understand the generation of warrior that we have that willingly signs up to go join the military. And, the show's been going we're coming up on a year here really, really soon. Now, the last episode that went out was quite a while ago. I did some of the Swapcast. If you guys have heard the Swapcast with my boy Blake from the Noise Pollution podcast, those were still going out recently until about Christmas. And if you listen to the Swapcast, you kind of have a little bit of an idea about what's been going on in my personal life and why the podcast kind of got put on hold and got put on pause. But like I said, we'll jump into that. But again, for those of you who maybe this is your first time listening, or like I said, it's been a while, maybe you need a refresher, this is the Badass American Heroes podcast. You can find us on YouTube just by searching Badass American Heroes podcast. We're on Facebook, Instagram, both of those. Just go search Badass American Heroes podcast or at Badass American Heroes podcast on Instagram. Those are the places you can find me there. You can reach out. I love to talk to you guys, love to connect. If you're a vet that wants to come on the show, or you're active duty and you'd like to come tell your story, reach out to me there, please. If you're somebody that's a veteran and you're struggling, reach out to me so I can help you get plugged into where you need to be. So make sure you go check those social media channels out. They've been kind of dormant for a while, but they are getting fired back up right now as we speak. There's going to be fresh content coming out there as much as I possibly can, guys. So forgive me for the hiatus, but we're back. We're back in full force. Today is Sunday, February 11th. So this episode is going to be coming at you guys Monday, February 12th, when you guys hear it. So I look forward to you guys hearing it and getting back into the groove with you guys. So let's jump in, shall we? Let's jump into what's been going on. The last time we talked was probably the Swapcast around the beginning of December, before Christmas. We're now in the beginning of February, middle of February, really, and a lot has been going on. So if you go back to episode 1 of the Badass American Heroes podcast, episode 1, an introduction, you guys get a brief kind of look at my life and what I'm about. And you would have heard that, I was married and had 2 kids. And, marriage is one of those things that changes and fluctuates. And now I'm getting divorced. And that is a tough road to navigate for a guy who, got married young, got married at 19 years old, and has been married for almost 11 years. And now for the first time in my adult life, I'm really kind of on my own, in a sense. if you listen to the Swapcast, you've heard me talk about my beautiful girlfriend that I'm seeing right now, and she's great, and she, helps me with the things that are going on. But still, a big change like that is intense, and it's a lot to handle, and it's a lot to deal with. And the kids living with their mom 2 hours away, that's a big thing. I see my kids every other weekend, so that's a big change, not having my kids around in my life as much, and kind of moving into my own place, and lots of changes come with that. And as somebody that already deals with anxiety and depression quite a bit, that it just kind of adds to that, and it's tricky to deal with. And I would tell anybody out there that's been through the same things that I'm going through right now, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's a rough road, even when it's one of those things where it's for the best, and it's long term what's best for both parties. It's still, it's still something that it's a big change, and change is never easy, even when it's for the better. So dealing with that, dealing with the move, and then in my line of work, the holidays is our busy season. It was just time to have the podcast just kind of go on hold for a little bit. And, it worked out. It gave me some time to kind of clear my head and hopefully try and rediscover myself and rediscover my purpose and what it is that I was wanting to do with my life. I got into the podcast, because I wanted to help people. When I joined the military, I joined because I wanted to do something that was bigger than myself. I wanted to do something for other people. I wanted to I wanted to be helpful. I didn't want to just live all about myself, and I thought that this was a good way I could do it. I could give back to a community that meant a lot to me with the military and the veteran community. And I've got to talk to some amazing people, Gunny Bustler, Jared Taylor, some of the guys that I've served with. We've had the guys from Locke's Hair Wax Co. on. We've had a lot of really great guests, and we've got more coming up. I'm scheduling more interviews as we speak. This isn't something that's going to go away. This is always going to be around. It might fluctuate, as I find time to do it, but it's something that allows me to give back, and I hope that you guys get something out of it. I hope it's something that you can listen to and hear the challenges that these people have gone through and say, oh man, I dealt with that same thing, or I'm dealing with that right now. This is a great perspective on how to deal with my situation. If you go back and listen to the 2-part episode with my boy, Big Sal, Mark Harrington, he talked about going through his divorce and how difficult it was for him. And, having people like that in my life that have been through the things that I'm going through is super helpful. And again, it's that community, it's that brotherhood and sisterhood that we share with people that is just, it's so important. And it's something that I haven't been able to replicate outside of the military. And it's fascinating to me that even after all these years, we still have these deep bonds and connections with people that we served with. You look at me and Blake from the Noise Pollution Podcast, which go check them out. Blake is great. I know he's been on a bit of a hiatus as well, but he's coming back, and the Swapcast are going to be coming back real soon. But you look at me and Blake, we served together in Iraq in 2009, 2010. I got out of the Army in 2011. We have not seen each other since. But we talk all the time. We talk almost every day. And we still have that connection, that brotherhood. And it's something that, again, I haven't been able to find it outside the military. I haven't been able to figure out a way to kind of make those connections and those bonds with other people. And, maybe there is a way to do it, but if there is, I haven't found it yet. So I just enjoy what I do have with my brothers that I've served with and the people that I've gotten to know throughout the podcast. And that's enough for me. The people that I have in my life are great people, and I'm getting to the point in my life where the people that are in my life because I want them to be, not because they have to be. And that's a great place to be at in your life, especially with the things that I'm going through and kind of where I'm at right now. That's a realization that I had to come to, and there's been people that I've told them I don't want them in my life anymore, and that's a tough thing, but change always is, and change for the better is always a good thing, even though it's a process. So enough of that, kind of move on to talk about some other things. And this is going to be kind of a shorter episode since it's a solo episode. It's just me tonight. There's no guest that we're talking to. But I did want to put out something just to let you guys know what's going on with the podcast. Let you know that this was never goodbye. The podcast is not going anywhere. It's back. And I can't wait to dive right back into it and get some awesome guests lined up. Again, if you want to come on the podcast, if you want to talk about your story, talk about your life, reach out to me on the social media platforms at Badass American Heroes on Instagram, Badass American Heroes Podcast on Facebook. You can also hit me up at badassamericanheroes@yahoo.com. And let me know. Let me know if you want to come on. It'll be fun. It'll be a great experience. Let's talk about mental health, guys. It's kind of the elephant in the room sometimes with veterans and people in the military. There's such a big push for the 22 a day, 22 veterans that kill themselves a day, and trying to figure out a way to get that number down. And there's no easy answer. There's no one-step solution. There's no overnight thing that we can do to make this go away. It's a lifetime, multiple lifetimes that have built up to this, and it's going to take time for us to work through this. But I think how we start this is by leaning on each other and reaching out to each other when we're in tough places. And again, that's what this podcast is about too. It's giving people another group, another community, another resource to reach out to when you're having a tough time, when you kind of feel the walls closing in. And again, I've been there in the last 4 months. I've reached out to my friends and said, hey, I'm going through a tough time. I need help. And they've been there for me. And I think that's one of the first steps in the process that we have to go through. But the second step is man, all the friends in the world can't replace a professional. And those of us that have anxiety, those of us that have depression and PTSD, I'm not saying to medicate yourself into a state of being a zombie, but man, see a professional, go talk to a professional. And, sometimes it can be an easy fix of taking a pill once a day or something, that can do wonders for you. And, a little bit about my personal demons that I fight, anxiety and depression combined are a motherfucker, and I can find myself having a great day at work, doing my thing, or, at home, hanging out, relaxing, and a thought will just pop into my head and it will eat me alive. And it's hard. It's hard once that thought gets in your head to put it away. The people I've talked to about it kind of call it like this doomsday, end of the world thing that I have going on where, I feel like the worst possible things are always going to happen. And then I fall into a state of depression thinking about it, which gets me even more anxious, which puts even more crazy thoughts in my head, which makes me more depressed. And it's a vicious cycle, man, and it's hard to snap out of. And it's almost cost me a lot over the last couple months. And it's something that I'm still trying to figure out. And it's another one of the reasons why I kind of put the podcast on a hiatus, because like I said, this was my way to help people. And when I looked at myself and I realized that I was struggling really, really bad, I asked myself, man, Brandon, how the fuck are you gonna sit here and try and help people when you're drowning yourself? You can't even save yourself. How are you supposed to go help other people? And so that caused me to put the podcast on hold, which, looking at it now, that was a horrible idea, because the podcast is one of those things in my life that just brought me such a great amount of joy and left me feeling fulfilled. And so to stop doing that, and again to let my own anxiety, my own depression kind of sabotage something that I wanted, it was rough. And it's something that I'm still dealing with. I'm still trying to get it under control. But I've also realized that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers, because none of us do. But you don't have to have all the answers to help other people. Just like I talked about earlier, sometimes knowing that there's somebody else out there that's where you're at or has been through what you're going through, sometimes that's enough. And that's something that we as veterans and as people that support the military, we got to do. We can't withdraw from each other and say, well, I've never been there, so there's no possible way I can help. That's not true, man. Or we can't say like, well, look, dude, I've got PTSD just like you do. I can't help you. That's bullshit. That's the easy way out. These things that we deal with, they make us stronger. It's like working out. You tear your muscles apart and then you allow them to rebuild, and that's what makes them stronger, right? Well, we do that with ourselves. These issues, the PTSD, the anxiety, the depression, these are things that can tear us apart, but we have to rebuild ourselves after we've been broken down. It's like when we went through basic training, the drill sergeants, the drill instructors, they would tear you down mentally, physically, emotionally, and rebuild you up as a group stronger than you were before. And that's what we have to do with ourselves. We can sit and we can lay on the couch and watch Netflix and drink Jack and Coke until we die. But that's not solving the issue. Or we can get up, we can get outside, we can go for a hike, we can get active, we can go out and go shooting, ride a bike, go for a fucking run, hit the gym, do whatever it is you need to do to start rebuilding yourself and putting yourself back together stronger than you were before. And that's something specifically this weekend that I've had to really deal with. And there's a lot of us that are there. Again, it's not just me. I'm not alone here. I know that there's a lot of other people out there that are listening to this that are either there or have been there or know somebody that's there. And I'm telling you guys, this is how we get better. This is how we rebuild and reshape ourselves and redefine ourselves. It's not by sitting on the couch and smoking weed till we can't stand up, or going out to the bar and getting hammered every night. Oh, those are fine things. I'm not gonna bag on those things. I love to go out and have drinks, and if smoking weed is something that helps you get yourself into a mental state where you can go out and be productive and be the person that you need to be, man, all for it. Do it. But don't let it become a crutch. Don't let it become what defines you. Don't let yourself become, the typical vet that is a drunk and depressed all the time and sad and emotional. Man, we gotta be better than that. We can be better than that. We should be better than that. We have been through the toughest situations that human beings can go through, and we're still standing. Each and every one of you out there that's hearing this, you're still standing. Even if you're barely standing, you're standing. And as long as you're up, you can fight, and you can continue to grow and rebuild and get better. And again, it's something I've had to do, and it's something that's taken me a long time and a lot of mistakes to figure out. And I'm not even saying I have the answers right now. I'm just starting to glimpse them, I'm just starting to see them. And again, I'm not perfect. I don't have everything put together. Hold on a second, guys. Speaking of Jack and Coke, that's what I'm going to take a sip of because, well, it's me. Delicious. But never give up, Never give up because you think you don't have the answers. Never give up because you think you're not enough. You are. And there's people out there that believe in you. I believe in you. If nobody else in the world believes in you, I fucking believe in you. Do not let me down. Do not disappoint me. Because every single one of us out there, we're special. We've made it through hell, and we're going to keep on going. So, enough of that soapbox. Man, it's been a journey. It's been a struggle the last couple months. It's one of those things where I personally, sometimes I feel like every time you think you have it all together, you realize you don't. And that's all right. We don't have to have it all together. But again, with me personally, that struggle is so difficult when you think that you're finally doing good and you think you're finally squared away and you've gotten all the issues taken care of, and then something else pops up. But man, that's life. And life is a roller coaster. It's got its ups, it's got its downs, but we just got to stay on the ride and ride it out. And surround yourself with positive people that appreciate you, that care about you, that believe in you. That's something else I've had to learn the hard way. There were people in my life that weren't good for me. It didn't make them bad people, but they just weren't good fits for me. And so I've had to rediscover what is a good fit for me and find those people and fight like hell to keep them in my life. And it's never an easy process, but it's a rewarding process at the end when you can come home and you've got people around that care about you and love you for who you are and want to see you succeed and want to see you do great things. That's a great feeling. So do that, Find the people that bring you up. Find the group of like-minded individuals that appreciate you and that can help you, and keep them in your life. Do everything you can to keep them in your life and to include them in your life. And man, we're about 25 minutes or so into the podcast, and I think this is probably a pretty good place to end this episode. Like I said, it's going to be a short one. It's just me flying solo, talking to you guys about what's been going on. So, lots of changes in my life, and I'm slowly going to start jumping back into the podcast here. I'm not going to guarantee that there's going to be a new one out every 2 weeks. But they're going to start rolling up, and we're going to start getting to that point, and I've got big plans for the podcast. So stay tuned, keep listening. Guys, keep fighting the fight, keep doing great things. There's such a good group of people that are fans of this podcast that talk to me, and I've gotten messages and comments from people saying, "Hey man, we haven't heard a new podcast in a while. How are things going?" Checking in. I appreciate it, each and every one of you that have messaged in. Zach Hickok, man, I got your message last night, and that was kind of the last boost that I needed to get this podcast out and get it going. And I'm back, baby. I'm back. So keep your ears open for more. Check us out on YouTube. Check out the Badass American Heroes YouTube channel. The Swapcasts with Blake are going to be coming back. Those will be on video as well. The Badass American Heroes podcast is probably only going to stay audio right now, but the Swapcast will be video. Check out the Instagram at Badass American Heroes. Check out the Facebook Badass American Heroes podcast. Drop me a line, badassamericanheroes at yahoo.com. That's where you can hit me there. If you are a veteran or active duty service member that is struggling, you're having a hard time, and you need help, reach out. This phone that I use is always on. I'll get your message. I'll get you connected. I'll talk to you myself. I'll get you with somebody that can help. But you got to take that first step of reaching out, and then I will do everything humanly possible to help you as much as I can. But you have to take that first step and be responsible and say, hey, I'm having a tough time. So do that, guys. I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for sticking with me through the tough times, through the good times. We're back. We're going to be lining up some awesome guests, so keep your eyes open in the coming weeks. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. You're all my Valentines. I wouldn't deport any of you. All right. So yes, guys, I am Brandon. This is the Badass American Heroes podcast. I'm back. The podcast is back. Keep your ears peeled. And as always, fuck ISIS.